Builder.ai was supposed to change everything. A platform so powerful that it promised to replace the need for developers. No team, no code, just AI. They wanted to make app development as easy as ordering a pizza. They said it was the future of software. Their pitch? It was so good that they raised $450 million. Their branding was so slick that even Microsoft invested. And their hype was untouchable. But then recently, something started happening. Employees started leaving, clients started talking. Now let's go back to where it all started, to the dream that Builder.ai sold to the world. Back in 2016, Sachin Dev Duggal launched Builder.ai under a different name, that was Engineer.ai. But actually his journey started way before, that was in 2012, when he launched SD Labs with the sole purpose of creating custom development products. But as you know, that service companies do not attract investors. They can't 100x or 500x the investors' money, right? But the experience of SD Labs laid the groundwork for him to build his bold vision. That was to make an app that could make app development as easy as ordering a pizza. His vision was no engineers, no complexity, just a library of pre-built features like chat, payments, GPS, user profiles, which any user can choose like toppings on the pizza. And at the center of it all, they launched a tool called Natasha, the brains behind this operation. You could tell Natasha what kind of app do you want, what features do you like, and she would come back to you with a timeline, cost, and delivery estimate almost instantly. Builder.ai called itself the Shopify for app development. TechCrunch even called it the future of app development. And the world, they followed and called it revolutionary. So the money flowed. And in 2018, they raised a Series A round of $29.5 million. Over the next 6 years, the company raised $450 million, attracting giants like SoftBank and Microsoft. And by 2023, they hit $1.3 billion in valuation and became one of the fastest growing startups. But the reality was that Builder.ai operated like an outsourced dev shop with automation layered on top. I mean, yes, there was tech involved in coding and tracking, but the core product still is stitched together by humans. And as for clients, these cracks started to show up. Massive delays in the projects, revisions handled by project managers and not AI, and lastly, bugs. Lots of them. For something that promised to replace the dev teams, it was still very much run by one. Builder.ai marketed itself as an AI-driven app assembly platform, but technically it wasn't the AI that most people imagined. Natasha, their AI assistant, wasn't a generative model building apps from scratch. She was more like an interface, a conversational layer sitting on top of template-based delivery systems. But let's dive deeper, how this actually worked. Customers would choose features from a predefined library, things like chats, payments, user profile, and authentications. And these were not dynamically designed by AI, these are pre-coded modules that were used over many projects. And once the order was placed, that's when the AI stepped back and the humans took over. Builder.ai's real backend involved an offshore team, a team of 700 plus Indian developers who stitched this module together to make an app. It was the same tech stack, the same workflows, just slightly reskinned and delivered under the AI brand. Internally, it operated more like a hybrid services plus automation company. Yes, some automation existed in pricing, estimate, and timelines, but the core product, it was heavily dependent on manual development. But recently, something began to shift. The same company who promised that it could deliver apps faster than any dev team was all over LinkedIn, but for entirely different reasons. Because you see, in 2023, they reported a sales of $180 million, but in reality, the number was just $45 million. And same again in 2024, they reported a number of $220 million, but actually the number was just $55 million. Now this wasn't some rounding error, it was just complete outright fraud. People later found out fake logos and fake reviews on the website, and despite all of that, Microsoft still invested in the next round. They raised another $250 million in Series D round, valuing them over $1 billion. But here's the thing, even if you fake revenue numbers, the money still has to come in, right? And when it doesn't, your burn rate shoots up through the roof. Builder.ai was burning $30 million per quarter, so the money started drying up, right? For survival, they raised another $50 million as a line of credit or loan. But this is where the final blow came in. Volatile Capital, the firm that lent them $50 million, detected a breach in contract with Builder.ai due to vastly inflated revenue numbers. And in May 25, Volatile Capital declared a default on the loan and seized back $37 million from Builder.ai's accounts, essentially all of their liquid cash, which led them to file for insolvency in May 25 and let go of their entire team. And that is when you saw Builder.ai employees posting job seeking updates. Now, under all of these posts, you see hundreds of different comments from companies like Swiggy, Meesho, or even Google, just trying to absorb the talent that Builder.ai had to let go. You know why it failed? It wasn't just the missed deadlines, it was more about the trust that they broke. But what made it even worse was that many of the clients were not even startups, they were small businesses or non technical founders who thought that Builder.ai could help them compete. Builder.ai wasn't the first company to overpromise what AI could do, and it certainly won't be the last company. Across industries, companies have used the term AI to sell products which are partially or barely automated. And there's even a name for it now. It's called AI theater. Now that is when companies dress up manual processes in glossy AI wrapper to raise funding, to win media attention, and to create an illusion of innovation. And it is not unique to Builder.ai. At Amazon Go, the Just Walkout store, which was marketed as AI powered, until it was later revealed that a team in India was manually monitoring the footage to track the purchases. Similarly, Waymo, the self-driving car company, installed more human monitors than the cars on the road, turning autonomy into supervised demo. But the thing is, with Builder.ai, this illusion was even tighter. They did not just overstate the tech, they created an entire brand around it. Their websites, pitch decks, and investor presentation all were centered around one thing, that AI could build your apps from scratch. But in reality, the AI handled only the surface level task of estimates and timelines. The actual coding was done by humans, the debugging was done by humans, and the bugs, again, very human. It was AI theater at its finest. Now the question arises, if Builder.ai was never truly AI first, if the product relied on human backend, and if clients were this unsatisfied, how the hell did they raise $450 million? The answer is not in the tech, it is in the narrative. Between 2019 and 2023, AI became the most bankable word in venture capital. Founders who said they were building in AI, even if it was early or experimental or abstract, they got meetings, funding, and most importantly, attention. And Builder.ai, they said all the right things. AI that lets you build app without developers, automated app assembly using reusable components, and the end of code as we know it. These were not product line, these were fundraising headlines. And investors bought into that dream. The thing is, in startup land, sometimes the dream is worth more than the delivery itself until the reality catches on. But this raises even bigger question. Is Builder.ai just one bad bet? Or is it the first visible crack in the massive AI funding bubble? But let me tell you, the technology itself is not fake, but the expectations, they were set far ahead from the progress. And now, investors and customers, both alike are waking up to that reality. For founders and customers, Builder.ai is just a cautionary tale. It's a reminder to look beyond the buzzword and demand real product value and to seek transparency. And lastly, the AI revolution is here. No doubt about it. I'll see you in the next one.